Hi, good day, guys. This is your host, Hendrik. Um, for the exam tips and exam prep. Um, so this video, this tutorial class, is just for you to be able to know how do you normally tackle the exam. Okay, so the exam typically has 50 questions and the pass mark. You gotta get at least three questions correct because it's 66%. So this is how you answer questions. So we use different types of methods to answer questions. I did send you the elimination method that you need to practice. The link is the last link on the RE full course videos, whereby I am giving you an exam prep on how to prep for the exam and how to use the elimination method and how to answer these questions. So here we're just going to go through typical mock exam practice that we are going to be dealing with. I don't know how many questions we're gonna do, but this is just to show you how to tackle the questions in the exam. Okay, so if you check here, question one, if you're not sure of the answer to your question, just mark on your question paper with a question mark. Mark it with a question mark and pass and go to the next question. If you know question, the answer, you're sure about the question two answer, then you answer it and then you go to the next question. If question three, you totally don't know nothing about it, then that's when you will pass it completely and you will go to the next question. And then after you are done with the questions that you are sure about, go back to those who you marked with a question mark because you were not sure. By then you will be more relaxed because you have already answered all the questions that were obvious or you knew what they were all about. Okay, so I just want to show you how we're going to tackle this um, question paper, which is mock exam 2 RE September 2019. Okay, so which one of the following constitute intermediary services as defined under the FAIS Act, right? So if you have joined the class, you would know that we have the difference between advice, intermediary services, and execution sales. We said if you are giving advice, it can be anything. When you're giving advice, it can be anything that has something to do with your recommendation, proposal, and guidance. And you normally do the needs analysis when you are giving advice. Okay. But when you're not giving advice, it's either you do execution of sales where you work in an environment that you use a script, everything is scripted, right? And normally in a call center, and you do your intermediary services. If you are doing anything apart from execution of sales or advice, which will lead a client into transaction. Okay. So it can be being an intermediary between the product supplier and the client. It can be uh, processing claims on behalf of the client, or maybe accounting for premiums. So if you attended the class and you know the information, then this is going to be easy for you to answer. Tandy works at product supplier A and processes clients' claims, right? FSP Z keep clients' funds in safe custody. Patrick informed a client about the advantage of the funeral policy, which the funeral policy will hold for her. Premiums are paid into product supplier D's account. Guys, Tandy works at product supplier A, right? And they process claims for a client. There is simply going to be a transaction between product supplier A and the client. So this means that the correct answer will be A, because Tandy works and assists the client with processing claims. So this means that Tandy is doing an intermediary service. So the correct answer here is going to be number A. All right. So if you know, you attended the class, you studied, you should know this by heart. You should know this information. You should be confident with this information. You don't just jump into a question and you answer without revising back and get the information. So when you do your mock exam practice, once you find this kind of questions and you are unable to even think about, okay, what is the difference between advice intermediary services and execution of sales, and you master those, that's when now you'll get confused. Okay. Question 2, these are those questions that they just need general knowledge. We know that the Financial Sector Conduct Authority became effective in 2018, guys. We done that in the introduction where I introduced the twin peaks to you. So this one is a very simple one. Let's continue to question 3. Excuse me. Oh. Okay, question 3, guys. Which one of the following fit and proper requirements are applicable to financial service providers? Guys, we spoke about different types of financial service providers. The first type of financial service provider is the one that is a company and they appoint a key individual and a compliance officer to take care of their licensing conditions and rendering of financial services. So if ever I'm Hendrik and I have money and I partner with someone and we start our own FSP, but we are not very proper, what are we going to do? We're going to appoint a key individual. Okay, appointing a key individual means that the key individual will be responsible, right, for the rendering of financial services. But if I'm Hendrik and I'm qualified, I'm having all the fair and proper requirements, then I can become a one-man business, which is called a sole proprietor. So this means for you to become a financial service provider, you simply need to have financial soundness, because you cannot operate without financial soundness. They will reject your application, even if you have hired a competent compliance officer and a key individual, you appointed them. But now, let's say you are under liquidity, under business rescue, they will not accept your application. But even if you don't have the fit and proper requirements, but you will be able to find someone who has and you hire them, then they can still grant you the license. Operational ability. you cannot operate a business in the air, right? You need to find a place. You need to have resources where you're going to operate your business, your address, contact details of your company and everything. So this means that if you don't have that, even if you come to Hendrik and you appoint Hendrik to be your key individual, but then where's your business going to run? They will still reject your application. Competency really, if you are not going to become the key individual, obviously you don't need to be competent. You can always hire a competent key individual. So that is not a requirement if you're not a sole proprietor. So we can't say competency is a requirement for you to become an FSP. Because even if I don't have the fit and proper or the competency, I can still hire someone who has, just to take care of the licensing matters, which is the key individual. Honesty and integrity, guys. If ever in the past I committed fraud, um, I was I was debarred and so forth. Okay, I acted dishonestly or without integrity and I'm not in good standing. They will not accept my application to be an FSP. Okay, so here we see that 2, 3, and 4 will be our best options, right? So when you have already selected those that you know and you're sure about, we know that competency doesn't apply as well as continuous professional development. So you can eliminate those that has 1 and 4, right? Those that have 1 and 4. So 2 is there, 3 is there, and 4 is there. All right. So here the the answer cannot be D because it has 4. It can't be C because it has 1, and it can't be B because it does not have 2. Whereas financial soundness is a requirement for you to become an FSP. So our correct answer here will be A. So if you have studied and you're confident with fit and proper requirements, then you can be able to answer this question. So if you come to this question and you are still struggling, please go back to the video that talks about fit and proper requirements and understand fit and proper requirements for each participant, for FSP, for individual, for rep, and so forth. Okay, perfect. And then we will go to question 4. Question 4, guys, is simple. We have done different types of categories and we have done subcategories as well. We know that product in category 1 is 26, right? And we have tier 1 and tier 2 products, and we have even explained in the video what is the difference between tier 1 and tier 2. And we also explained which fit and proper requirement applies to tier 1, either advanced or intermediary services or execution of sales, and which one does not apply, and which one applies to tier 2 products as well in all aspects. So if you have done the categories and subcategories, if you haven't done them, go back to the week where we were talking about fit and proper requirement, categories, and then like go and redo those categories. Okay. So I assure you that if you have studied, no question paper will be difficult for you. It doesn't matter who set the question paper or how they set the question paper. The fact is, if you have studied, you watched the videos, and you are confident with what you're doing, then you will pass. Question 5, which of the following statement is correct regarding the role players in the financial service industry? Do you know all the role players in the financial service industry? Do you know who does what? Do you know what the rep, who's the rep, what he does? Do you know who's the key individual, what he does? Do you know who's the compliance officer and what he does? Do you know who's fiscal? Do you know who's the ombudsman and what each and every one of them is doing? When you're going to go through your answers for this, you will know if one is correct or incorrect. They say the compliance officer is responsible for oversight and management of financial services. We all know that the compliance officer oversight compliance function, not management of financial services. So A is incorrect. A financial service provider must apply for a license with the Department of Finance. No, we apply with the registration departments. So if you go through those departments in that table and you see what each department does, then you will know that the Ombud for financial service provider is responsible for regulation of financial services. No, they are responsible for adjudicating and assisting with complaints, right? And the juristic representative are appointed and approved by the financial service provider. Any representative, either you are employed or you are juristic, you are on contract, you will be appointed and approved. There is no approval from fiscal for any type of representative. This means D is going to be our correct answer. So the exam is very simple, guys. The only thing that you need to know is your information. You need to be sure of your information. You need to know who is who and what they do. Lucas invest 1.3 million in a new venture on advice of a representative of Advisors. He suffers a loss of 1.1 million. Lucas did not receive a positive response from when he was complaining internally. So he was advised it is the responsibility of the FSP to tell the client which ombuds to go to. So they tell him he can refer to the FAIS Ombud. What amount must Lucas forego for his complaint to be considered by the FAIS Ombud? Remember, guys, there is a certain amount, which is 800,000 rand possible payment when you are referring your complaint to the Ombud. So he must be ready to forego an amount of money from the loss that he suffered of 1.1 million. And so if he suffered 1.1 million, he can only recover 800,000. So 1.1 million minus 800,000, it's 300,000, guys. Very simple and straightforward. So this guy will be paid 800,000. This means that the 300,000 rand will be forgone, because we have done the FAIS Ombudsman in the class and we have explained that the FAIS Ombudsman will do a payout to a maximum of 300,000 rand. Okay. Question 7. So question 7, guys, which of the following are purposes of the register of representatives? We spoke about the register of representatives. We say if Hendrik now is applying for a job at Standard Bank, it's resigning from ABSA will have to remove him from their register, right? And Standard Bank will add him to their register. This means that the register will grant Hendrik the Hendrik will start to be registered in the new bank and now will be flagged as someone who's working for ABSA and not Standard Bank anymore, or Standard Bank and not ABSA anymore. Even FISCA will be able to update their central register to see whether Hendrik is still working for ABSA or he's working for another company. So when they remove you, they inform FISCA from the other bank. When they add you on the new one, they also inform FISCA. So these provide a record of representative associated with the financial service provider. This is correct, guys, because if you are not on the rep register for Standard Bank, it means you're not hired by Standard Bank. You are only hired by Standard Bank when they put you on their register. Calculation of leaves. So We said in the class that levies are paid per head, per representative, as well as a key individual. So if we have you as a rep, but you're not registered, it means that fiscal will not be able to charge the company the amount or the number, the amount for the number of heads that are working for the company. So this will assist as well on the central register to assist with calculation of the levies. And then maintenance of central rep register. You see, their central rep register will be maintained and will be up to date when they remove you from Standard Bank and they put you onto ABSA. This means that the central rep register with fiscal will know that, oh, this guy have left Standard Bank and have went to ABSA. Assisting to make lookup facility available on the fiscal official website. Guys, for me to be able to check if you are really working for ABSA or you are really working for Standard Bank, I can check on their website for fiscal. I can go to fiscal website and I search for your name and the license that you said you're working for. If I say I'm working for Esupol, then when they go to Esupol, they look at reps, then they will be able to see, oh yes, Hendrik is under Esupol. All right. So that lookup facility must be maintained. When they remove you from one FSP, you won't be visible on their lookup facility. So all these questions, all these Roman figures are correct because that's what the rep register is used for. And D is going to be correct. So all of the above. So it is important to know your story. Don't use cram work. So if now you're on this type of question and you're unable to relate to what you're talking about, before you even go to write the exam, take the question, look at what it talks about. If you get it wrong, go back to the video where I explain so that you can be able to grasp. Okay. Question 8. Marian invested money on the advice of a representative of LMN brokers. She suffered a loss of 950,000 and submitted a complaint through the FAIS Ombud. They did not agree that the FAIS Ombud limit for complaints must be exceeded. We said that they can only exceed, the FSP can exceed if they agree to do that. If they don't, then you will be paid a maximum financial compensation that the FAIS Ombud can be able to award you. And then it's going to be 800,000 rand plus interest from the period that your loss happened until the date of determination. Okay. From the period, the date of loss until the date of determination. So they won't only pay your interest when you started complaining, because let's say your complaint with the FSP took 12 months to resolve, and you saw that it wasn't resolved, and you only go there, your investment still has the interest, so they still have to pay you the interest from the day that you lost the money, only if the ombudsman says the final decision is that the FSP must pay. Guys, I'm going to show you this table here and how to answer the question in this table form. I want you to understand that if you don't know your fair and proper requirements accordingly, and you don't know your categories accordingly, you don't know your classes of business accordingly, you won't answer this question. Okay? Because it needs you to know after how long should someone get their RE from the day of appointment, after how long should one get their qualification after day of appointment, and how many hours per how many classes and subclasses should one get their CPD programs done. So ACE Insurer is registered as a Cat 1 financial service provider in short-term personal lines and commercial lines. This alone, personal lines and commercial lines, already tells us that these guys are operating within two classes of business: short-term personal lines and commercial lines. Okay, so these guys are already in two CPD, classes of business. If you look at the hours that are needed within a year, when you are doing more than one class of business, it's how many hours? 18 hours minimum. Okay, for that 12 months, you must have 18 hours. If you go back to CPD and look at it, as long as we have short-term personal lines and commercial lines, it's two different classes of business. If you're doing more than one class of business, the hours are 18 hours. See, now you are getting closer to your answer. They do advise an intermediary service at the same time. The table below outline programs that their representative embark on during the CPD cycle, as well as their date of first appointment. Which one of the following representatives have maintained a fit and proper status in terms of qualification and continuous professional development required? Look at the qualifications. Look at the CPD hours. CPD hours should be 18 hours. And look at the date of first appointment. This means from the date of the first appointment, the person must have 18 hours. Unless otherwise they are exempted from doing that. Okay. Now let's look at the first guy. Look at the cycle. It ends 31st May 2019. This means it started 1st June 2018. And it ends the 1st of May 2019. 1st of June 2007 to 2019. If you look at 2007 to 2019, it's roughly 2007. So 2019, 2007, that's 12 years in the industry. 12 years. This guy has 12 years from their date of first appointment. So in the first 2 years, they must complete their RE. Of course, they do have their RE, right? And they are doing advice and intermediary service. They need to have full qualification. So this guy only completed a skill program in 2008, which gives 60 credits. This guy needs 120 credits. So you see now, he is exempted from CPD, but he's not fit and proper because of what? The qualification. He was supposed to be having the qualification. He's fit and proper for RE. He's exempted from CPD, but then he was supposed to have his 120 credits by 6 years. So 2007, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He was supposed to have 13. He was supposed to have his fit and proper in terms of qualification in 2013. It's already 2019. It's already 2019, but he still don't have his qualification. Then he is not fit and proper because of credits. Qualification. 6 years has passed from DOFA. Second guy, 1 December 2018, he was appointed, and now we are in 2019. 2018 December, 2019 January, February, March, April, May. This guy has 6 months in the industry. Even if he don't have RE by then, he's still fit and proper because he still have 2 years to do his RE. So they say he's a certified financial planner. This means he did financial planning and he completed his qualifications. So he is qualified in terms of qualifications in RE, right? He embarked learning program of 9 CPD hours of learning with FPI. So if this guy has only 6 months, it means he worked half a cycle. And when we are going to look at half of the credits of the CPD hours that he should have by the end of the cycle, so that's where we say reduction of hours. They are going to reduce, when he started in December, they're going to reduce his hours to 9 hours because they can't expect him to have 18 hours, whereas he worked only half of the cycle. It started in December and it ended in May. So this means this guy must have 9 CPD hours of learning. You see now, this guy is still cool as well with his credits, with his CPD program. Why? Because they had to reduce his hours to 6 months. 6 months, 1 year, it's 18 hours. 6 months is half of 1 year. This means it's half of 18, which is 9. So this guy is super fit and proper. You don't really, if you know what you're doing, you don't even need to go and check these other guys. Obviously, the correct answer is 1. So the correct answer here is going to be B. To prove it, this guy, 1 March 2017, he was appointed. He have the right qualification, but the wrong RE. This is not RE1. It's for individuals. So he's not fit and proper for representative. He gotta do RE5 for representative position. This guy, for 1st April 2015, he has BCom Finance, RE1 and RE5. He's fine with all this. But look at the hours, only 12 CPD hours. So he was supposed to be on 80. He's short of 6. So this CPD hours is the one that makes him not to be fit and proper. So the correct person who is on the right place is this one, who have completed all the CPD hours required, as well as all the qualifications required compared to his date of first appointment. That's how you tackle this question, okay? Question 10. Which of the following conditions must be met before the bond representative can apply for his or her name to be removed from the list of the bond representative? If debarment not adhering to FAIS Act in a material manner. Guys, we said that there are reappointment. There's a table depiction in the study material, and there's video that talks about debarment. And if you don't know the reappointment for a debarment and what should be met for you to be reappointed, then you will be wrong when it comes to this question. I am just showing you how to answer questions, guys. We're not going to be doing all 50 questions because you just need the technique, right? That's what you need. You just need the technique. Otherwise, if you feel like you are unable to answer a certain question, it will be because you haven't studied that chapter very well and you didn't understand. And you gotta go back to that chapter and do it, redo it over and over again until you are able to answer questions that are on the exam paper. So they say, which of the following conditions must be met? They say the FAIS Ombud must have determined that the representative was not guilty of an offense. Remember, guys, FAIS Ombud simply deal with complaints from clients against FSPs, not against the reps. Reps, remember when you're authorized to be a rep, the FSP take all the responsibilities that you're doing. So you are not held liable for anything. They will debar you. 6 months must have lapsed since the date of which the debarment has been initiated. No, it's 1 year. It's 1 year rehabilitation period, and all unconcluded business of the band representative must have been properly concluded. So before they debar you, they got to make sure that all unconcluded businesses that you were doing are properly concluded so that your debarment does not affect clients. Two, the debarred representative must have met all fit and proper requirements. So you can't work under supervision after debarment. We know that. So this means that after debarment, there's no supervision. You're gonna come out having everything. So 2, 3, and 4 are correct. So the correct answer here will be B. Okay. So this is a highlight of this question paper, and I wish you all the best. I am giving you a very, very profound introduction to how you're going to be answering your questions, and continuing, you will be knowing how to answer your question. This will be so much helpful for you guys so that you can be able to know how you tackle those questions. If you take what I gave you in this video and you combine it with the exam prep class on the other video in the full RE course, and you study. These mock exams are there to show you which part of the exam or of the material you did not understand. So if you see yourself struggling with fit and proper requirements, struggling with FICA code of conduct somewhere, somehow, you need to go back to that touch and make sure that you reread it, you watch the video, and then you will definitely be able to pass the exam without any hassle. Okay, so I hope this will be more helpful for you. Thank you, guys.